Okay, hello everyone. My name is Moh Farhan. My student number is 222-322-0021. I'm from class 3B, and now today I'm going to give a commentary or a review to a paper titled Study Abroad's Contribution to Critical Thinking and World Citizenships. For this video is only fulfill the assignment that the lecturer gave me to do. This paper was written by Emin Nguyen. He is a professor of philosophy or ethnic studies and interim dean of the Honor College. Okay, now we get to the purpose of the paper was written. Don't forget it was published online and by Cambridge University Press. This paper was written for articulate and defense to this opinion due to by Richard Paul and Linda Edler. The first opinion is creative thought and critical thought cannot be separated. And second opinion is the intellectual traits constitutive of critical thinking are independent. So this paper is discussed about and defend and articulate both two opinions. The twin these combined with the sentence impact studies show that study abroad enhance both creativity and critically. This paper also has 7 points. The first is beyond the cultural and linguistic benefits. Second is the inseparability of creativity and critically. Third is the interdependence of intellectual traits. Four is cultivation of critical thinking. Five is the Socratic ideal of rationality. Six, the Diogenian ideal of cosmopolitanism. And 7 is few modest proposal. Before we get to those 7 points, this paper also revealed that study abroad helps shape participants' lives for years after the experience. So, study abroad changing participants' life after they experience this kind of thing. Like, yeah, this study abroad has been quite to data, and also, of course, they go to data. And this paper is trying to explain it by the 7 points. So, and also it will show that study abroad positively influence the maturity, education, and career path of participants, which means it gives positive effect toward participants' life. Okay, now I will explain every point in this paper as short as possible. Alright, the first point, beyond the cultural and linguistic benefits. These points show that the improvement of creative thinking and communication skills. For this strategy, Transtom Williams shows that study I mean for these points, Tracy Ranston Williams shows that students who study abroad generally demonstrate a greater increase in intercultural communication skills after their time abroad than students who stay on the campus. So students who spend their time abroad increasing better in intercultural communication skill than the students who only spend their time or focus on the campus. So the communication in for students who spend their time abroad is better than the students who only spend their time on the campus. Okay, we get to the next point, the inseparability of creativity and critically. This point is explaining two reasons that study abroad are just not are not just about creative thing but also critical thing. First, creative thinking is, uh, I mean, first creative thinking and critical thinking are so interwoven that neither can be separate from the other without an essential loss to both. From the nature and function of critical and creative thinking by Dylan Beach, CA Foundation for Creative Thinking, Critical Thinking, 2008. The second reason is constitute critical thinking and the traits are interdependent such that the acquisition, possession, retention, employment, development, and enrichment of one requires the same of the others, and our critical thinking will be compromised if we are severely lacking in any of these traits. So thinking creativity, and critically are something which the mind must work to attain. And creative thinking involves a process of making or constructing, whereas critical thinking involves a process of judging and or assessing. Okay, we move to the third point. The third point is the interdependence of intellectual traits. This point shows both Paul and Elder conceive of critical thinking as the art of analyzing and evaluating thinking with a view to improving it, and also their conception of critical thinking as an art notwithstanding. Paul and Elder insist that it is more than just mastering a certain set of skill. So we get to the next point is the cultivation of critical thinking. This point shows how study abroad spurs the growth of several intellectual traits. For example, 1980, I mean 98% said study abroad expand their understanding of their own cultural biases, and 82% said it helped them develop a more sophisticated way to looking at the world. So all of them are focused on how critical thinking make people understanding the culture around the world. We get to the next point. We, I mean the six. Yeah, next point six. The Socratic ideal of rationality. It says Socrates was a critical thinker par excellence. For this, any for this example, we have a Plato, the Platonic form of critical thinking. As evidenced by Plato dialogues, he manifests our intellectual traits constitutive of critical thinking. Socrates displayed intellectual autonomy by thinking through issues on his own rather than uncritically accepting what he was told by his peers or established theological heavyweights such as Homer and Hesiod. Okay, we get to the next point is the Diogenian ideal of cosmopolitanism. This point shows that study abroad help cultivate citizens of the world and the single community to which they belong. By showing the contribution to realization of Diogenian ideals of cosmopolitanism. Okay, we finally get to the last point is a few months proposal. It shows conclusion of the three schematic proposal first. I mean, It shows conclusion of the three schematic proposal. The first is study abroad while not inexpensive foster the development of schematic proposal. Development of informed, critical, and creative thinkers who communicate effectively. Okay, second is considering adaptation is the critical mechanism that underlies the robust correlation between living overseas and enhanced creativity. Okay, the third conclusion is in a recent study, Joshua S. McKeown observes no president, provost, dean, or study abroad director will discourage the expansion of studying abroad on her or his campus, with most actively encouraging it. Yet, the kinds of inquiry and assessment that typically accompany first-year program, academic curricula, living learning communities, and the other campus programs have largely has been absent from study abroad. Okay, I think that's all the content of the paper. Okay, we get to the more next is my commentary of this paper. Well, my commentary of this paper not really much. By far, is this paper is good and has many benefits yourself to read. Uh, like it would make the reader understand the impact of study abroad and to enhance both creativity and critically in the society, and many things like we already discussed it before the and yeah, the 7 points, was like it was the reason, and also the paper already discussed between two opinion from Richard Paul and Linda Eder, that one is creative thought and critical thought cannot be separated by, and the sec but Linda Elder is thought that or intellectual traits constitutive of critical thinking are dependent. So first one is cannot be separated, but the second one can be separated by, but more like not the dependence between each other. So the paper will discuss all those two opinions from Linda Elder and Richard Paul. Okay, we get to the again now is the weaknesses with this paper. The weaknesses to this paper are probably the formatting. Yeah, when I read the paper is kind of bit confusing, but which one is the point and which one is uh yeah, it's kind of format, like margin of this probably more, they have to more have formatting like a margin or tabs like that, and list, and make it make it confusing for the reader who read it first. Yeah, and hopefully the writer or the editor will fix the paper to make it easier to read. And all the weaknesses is how sorry, and all the weakness, well, it's not really much, just that I really want to I really I mind the weakness of just the formatting of this paper, make make we as a reader confused at first. So don't know the points, where the point and where, like what is the, there's no connotation or like sign if there's point or what. Yeah. Well, I think that's all my review. A paper titled Study Abroad's Contribution to Critical Thinking and World Citizenships by Emil Nguyen. Hope this review will give benefits to you guys. And thank you. Farhan here, signing off.